Hello everyone, this is Steve Signaler bringing you this week's weekly store training on account scrubs. So let's get cracking. These first few slides is to help you prepare for your WST. To have an effective WST, you can't do the classic schoolroom with the teacher and the chalkboard, right, where you're lecturing and they're listening. That doesn't work, there's no learning in that. Here are some things to help you remember how a WST should be looking like, right? The key is the dumber I get, the smarter my people get. You want their participation, their interaction. When you are talking, they are not learning. You want to be able to allow time for your reps to interact with the content, allow time to reflect and circle their learning, really hone in on the aha moments. And at the end of the day, it's a lot more work to talk less and encourage more participation, which means that you really need to be preparing. So some things to help you with that, we've got a video here of how to get started and how to get some ideas on how to have an effective WST. Here are some things to remember after you've watched that video. Check in with learning. Again, you are the facilitator, not the expert. And create the learning moment. What is the learning moment? What was most useful? And then we've got one more video for you to watch. This is Flip the Classroom. How can you flip your WST? Okay, so now that you've watched those, you can really start preparing. So this PowerPoint is, again, a preparation tool. This is not your presentation tool. You'll notice in here we'll have notes down here that will help you within each slide. Okay, so the homework assignments. First homework assignment is to watch the My Offers video. This is just a quick 2-minute video to review how to utilize the My Offers. The second homework assignment is to have all of your reps practice transition statements. Now the transition statement is how do you get into the customer's account based on different customer types or customer needs. So a bill pay, somebody that needs a plan change, they're coming to buy an accessory, right? How do we transition from our conversation into their account? Now you're going to have a competition in the WST, so make sure you're really working with your team members on this homework assignment so they can come prepared with really, really good transition statements. Okay, so the results of the WST. What do you want by the end of your WST? The first, you want your reps to understand that the more scrubs they do is more sales opportunities. The second is to identify how to get customers, get access to the accounts with different customer types. Again, those transition statements. And then the third is to follow the 6 steps to effective scrubs. Okay, so at the very beginning, it's really important that you have an icebreaker, right? This gets the blood flowing. It's really early in the morning. You really want to have some fun and get the interaction off of something fun. So you can split this into 2 debate teams, and have just a debate of who would win and why. Batman versus Iron Man, Superman versus Thor. Spend less than 5 minutes, but make sure you have some fun. Get some interaction with this. Okay, so your first aha moment. Have you ever come into your store and asked your rep, hey, how's the day? And they go, today's been slow, right? Traffic's been down. Well, the aha moment that we need to have is that traffic isn't a direct indicator to having a lot of sales. Now, we need foot traffic, right? We need people in our stores to sell, but you've been worked a shift where we've been slammed and we haven't sold any phones. You've also worked a shift where we haven't talked to a whole lot of customers, but you've sold 2 or 3 phones. So what we really need is to be able to shift our focus from traffic to account scrubs, right? The more accounts you can scrub is a direct indicator to our sales success, right? So the more accounts we can scrub, the more opportunities we have. That's what we have to focus on is our sales opportunities. To increase that, we need to be accessing more accounts and do more account scrubs. So that's your first aha moment. Okay, so now we're going to get into the 6 steps to awesome account scrubs. The first is transition to customer accounts. Again, this is a lot within the homework, is what your reps are going to be working on with that. Step number 2 is understand the customer. Step number 3 is to understand the account. 4, ask follow-up questions, and the key here is to look for problems to solve. 5, take care of the customer's original request. And 6, pitch additional solutions found from step 2 and step 4. So again, we're gonna pitch solutions based on what we understood from the customer and what problems we have been able to find out about and potentially solve with our products or services. Okay, so step number 1, transition. First, we need a reason to get into the account, right? And then the second point we need to make is assume access, don't ask for permission. If we just say, hey, can I get into your account? You're giving an opportunity for your customer to say no. What you want to say is just assume that we're going to get into the account. Okay. Now, the homework should give you some examples between greets, bill pays, but if you need more time, you can talk about these different ones of how you can assume and not ask permission and what those transitions should say. This is also a time where you can bring up the homework and have the competition to see who has the best transitions from the homework. Okay, step number 2 is to understand the customer. Okay, so we've just asked permission to get in, or excuse me, we have not asked permission. We've gotten into the account, or we have assumed access to get into the account. But before we do, we need to ask our 4 discovery questions found on our bubble sheets. So the question you want to ask your reps is, well, why do we want to do that? We've just assumed to get access. We've transitioned from customer to account, but now I'm going to stop and ask the 4 questions. How does that work? Well, the reason for that is what we understand from our customer is more important than what we understand from the account, right? It also gives us more opportunities from step 4 to be finding out additional things from our customer on products that we can sell. If you're just pitching a tablet just because they don't have one, you're not going to have a high success rate. But if you found a problem that you can solve, that a tablet can solve, now you have a much higher success rate. Okay. So an example is, great, let's get into your account, but before we do, let me ask you some quick questions. Now again, you're going to want your bubble sheet so you can be taking down notes on these questions. Okay. The other key is you're not going down any rabbit holes. You may ask a couple follow-up questions on these, but you want this to be really, really quick. You're going to put any ideas that you have or potential solutions that you find from these questions, you're just going to put them in your back pocket, and you're going to do more follow-up questions in step 4. Okay, so again, here are your 4 questions that are right on the bubble sheet. And again, the purpose of this is to remember that we're no longer a cell phone company. We're looking for additional products to sell besides just phones. Okay, now we're into step 3, where now we're actually in the account. Oh, one other thing to remember with these 4 questions, it takes like 9 passwords to get into Omni. It is great to be able to follow up with these questions while you're accessing the account. And that'll make more sense as we look at step 4. Okay, so the big question is, what are you looking for? We've got some screenshots that you can go through with your team to be looking at what are the things that you're looking at. Now, if your team's pretty familiar and comfortable, you may not need to go through this, or you go through this maybe after, but you don't want to spend a ton of time within this, just enough that they understand some things that they're looking for. Okay, now we're at the step 4, the follow-up questions. So while you're in the account or while you're accessing Omni, now you're going to be asking your follow-up questions based on step 2. Again, this is good conversation, and this is going to help you identify problems that our products can solve. Okay, so an example, a customer's buyout on their phone is $155. What you don't say is, hey, do you want to get a new phone? It's only going to cost you $155 to buy out your old phone, right? That's not a good pitch. What you want to be doing is asking questions like, hey, how do you like your phone? Anything you wish it could do? How's the battery life, right? You're trying to find out and get a feel for what their phone is and how they like it before you start pitching anything. Okay, step 5, take care of the customer's original needs. If your customer's coming in because they need to change their bill, change their plan, or pay their bill, and you start talking about phones without taking care of their problem, you're going to see frustration in your customer. They're not going to be engaged in your conversation. So it's really important that we take care of the customer's needs first. Okay, and then step number 6 is to pitch your solution, right? Emphasize here when you're talking with your reps that we need to have a solution to a problem, which means we need to find a problem, which goes back to step 2 and step 4. Okay, if you did your first 5 steps correctly, you should be able to find a product or service that's going to benefit the customer. It's going to work out really well. Okay, now we've got our bubble sheets. It's important that we use this when we're asking our questions. So these are the first spots that we should be filling out in step 2. Right? These are our 4 discovery questions, and here's some additional notes. Right? And then for step 6, when we're pitching solutions, it's always good to have an option 1 and option 2. So we want to be filling this out and giving our customer 2 options that they can pick from and looking on that on paper. So again, these are all the things that should be filled out by the time you get to step 6. Again, what this does is this makes it look more official, that we're engaged with our customer. Taking notes just looks better, and we get an overall better result with our customer. Okay, once you've reviewed the 6 steps and you've practiced them, here are some skill drills to work on. As a table on this one, you can discuss what understanding questions were asked to gather information in the scenario. So after you've done the role play, that's what your discussion wants to be. And again, properly fill out your SPF or your bubble sheet on this scenario. Okay, the next skill drill, you've got a customer that's an outdoor family with 3 kids, needs to pay their bill. Again, these are the things you're wanting to get out of this skill drill. Make sure you have a discussion. What products were pitched? How would you pitch 2 or more products to this customer? That's the discussion you want on this one. We also have a greet one for BJ's locations, and this is on greets, right? So this is what your rep wants to be doing, right? This is what your customer has. We just have step 1 and 2. Here are the discovery answers, right? We've got a family laptop. They use their devices for work, FaceTime with family, and entertainment for the kids. They're a high school teacher, high school math teacher, that's what they do for work, and they have Time Warner Cable, they have the triple play. So within here, what you're looking for is, well, what's a potential problem that we have a solution for? Well, you'll notice they've got a family laptop that they use for work and entertainment for the kids. Well, you can probably guess that this high school math teacher sometimes needs to do work on the laptop when the kids want to play games on the laptop. So what would be a good solution for this customer? Well, let's get them a tablet for the kids. Now again, we want to go through all first 5 steps before we pitch the laptop, or excuse me, before we pitch the tablet, right? If we just pitch it right out of the, right on step 1 or step 2, that's not going to really work for us. We need to go through all 5 steps, and then the 6th step, we need to pitch that tablet. Okay, and if you need more skill drills, here are some more examples. Okay, so you really want to be spending the majority of your time understanding the 6 steps and then going through and having lots of time for your skill drills. Again, the key is to follow all of the steps to the guest process through this. And that is your WST. So make sure you use the prep, make sure everybody's done the homework, and really be comfortable with all this process. And again, this is about participation with your reps. If they can fully understand these 6 steps, you'll be able to have more sales opportunities, will increase sales in your stores.